So before we carry on, it's well worth remembering that we need to save our work regularly, and in this Sonny IDE I can tell there's unsaved work because I've got a little star here, and I also haven't yet saved it and given it a file name, so I'm going to do that now. So File, Save As, and then you want to save it into an appropriate location like your OneDrive folder. And I suggest you give it a title, sort of Text Adventure version 1, V1 for short, because later on you might try something that may or may not work, so you save it as a new version and then you can always go back to the old version. So I'm going to save that, and you can see that the quick save button has now greyed out and there's no little star here. So if I made another change, so if I wrote another command, something basic, you can see that is not greyed out anymore, so I can click that to quick save. Okay, let's get back to some coding, and we are in our text adventure. We want the user, the person playing our game, to be able to make choices, and at first we're going to keep this simple. Anytime they make the wrong choice, the game should be over. But it's only one path through the maze, but later on I'll show you how to make it a bit more complicated. So far we've got a name variable, so the user can enter their player name and then we can use that in a sentence. So let's give our player a choice. So I'm going to use a variable. It doesn't have to be choice, it can be anything, as long as it doesn't start with a number or a capital letter. So do you A, bang on the door, or B, sit and wait? So we can then say if choice is equivalent to A, we can print the guard gets angry and walks off. You are stuck here for years. Right, so notice that I'm indenting here. So to the left of the Q key on your keyboard is the tab key, and you should use that to indicate that this print statement is one of the lines of code you want to run if the user has entered A. Okay, so what if they don't enter A? If they enter anything other than A, it has to be B. So we can just write else, so it's an either or question. So print you listen to the water drip. Okay, so we can then write sometime later the guard comes back for a chat. Something like that. Not a great story, but there you go. So we've got a variable with an input statement. This line is checking what has been saved into this variable, so these two need to match. Okay, and this is 2 equals rather than 1 equals, because when it's 1 equals you're saving into the variable, and when it's 2 equals you are checking if A has already been saved into there. And if A has already been saved into there, it will run these 3 lines of code, otherwise it will run this code. So if this, for example, was like that, that would be a problem because it's not indented, so you have to use that tab key just to the left of your Q key. Okay, let's run it and see what happens. So my name is Bob. Okay, you are going to be here for a long time. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so do I A, bang on the door, or B, sit and wait? Well, I'm going to A, bang on the door. Okay, now it says game over, but then it's carried on and printed out this last line, this last command on line 23. So what you can do is just under where you want it to say game over, you do exit open bracket close bracket. Now what will happen when we run this is this isn't an error message, it's what happens when this command on line 20 has run, and it just stops the program carrying on after the game is finished. Okay, so the game finishes, it runs lines 19, and then we want the program to stop, and this is a simple way to do that. There are other ways that we can do it that don't result in this red text here. I'll show you that later. Okay, but for now that's quite handy. So that is a simple if statement. Okay. Okay, let's look at another simple if statement and a couple of common errors that people make. So in this example, our variable name is x, not very descriptive, but it works. And we've got an input statement asking this question, what is 2 plus 2? Now, if the user types in 4, it will output this. You're a genius. Otherwise, it will output this. So if we run it, what's 2 plus 2? If I put an incorrect answer, it says think again. That's good. Now let's run it again. If I put 4, it still puts think again because it's only looking for that. It has to be exactly what is in those speech marks. Okay. Now, common errors that people make. If you forget to include something like the colon, it's expecting a colon and it tells you what line number to look at. Okay, so we can fix that one. Okay, another one is if you don't get your indentation correct. So if we do that, okay, it's telling you there's an indentation error and it thinks it's around line 4. So indentation error, sometimes the line number isn't quite right, so we know it's in that ballpark area. But that hopefully will fix that. Okay, now what if we wanted to allow both this, but also we wanted this, the word for, to be a correct answer? So how could we do that? Well, we can use OR. So if x is equivalent to the number 4, or 4. Now this is wrong, okay, I'm illustrating a common problem. We can fix it, but let me show you the wrong version first. So it looks right, that's why I'm going on about it, because if I type in 4, oh yes, that's working. But if we try it again and I write something else, it still says I'm a genius, okay? Or if I write that, it thinks I'm a genius. Or if I'm like that, it thinks I'm a genius. This OR can cause problems. You have to re-put the variable and the 2 equals. Now, if I do that, copy and paste that, then it should work. So if I do 4, that is correct. But if I do 5, that is incorrect. If I do 2, that is incorrect. If I do the number 4, that is correct. So that is now working as it should. And you could do more ORs if you wanted to. You can do OR, but you have to do OR and the variable after the word OR. Okay, great. So hopefully now you can add some if statements to your text adventure game and allow whoever is playing your game opportunities to make choices and either go through the blue door or the black door, or go through take the left path through the forest or the right path through the forest. And you've got OR, so you can have more than one right answer, and you can bug fix these bits of code hopefully. In the next video I'll show you how to add a lives variable, so your character has maybe 3 lives, and if they get something wrong they don't die immediately, they can maybe lose a life until they get to 0. Or maybe you could do it the other way around, where they're collecting things like keys or coins or diamonds or stars or something like that. So have fun with the if statements, and I'll see you in the next video.